This guy's an absolute crusher. He's done comedy all from West Texas all the way to Ohio. Real grizzled vet. Meet Adam Harden! I know this guy actually. Here we go.
He said I know. What's up with that?
Yes, I'll bring that in a second. All right, I'm just going to get right into it. My wife has a lot of random tattoos, and over the years, I've just gotten used to my wife coming home with a new tattoo here and there, and none of them ever bothered me. Till one day, she came home with a tattoo of Ralphie from A Christmas Story. It's right here on her shoulder. Now, every time I come on her tits, I have to try to not hit a 9-year-old boy in the face. Now, the worst thing about it is Ralphie has a goofy looking smile on his face. So if my wife is the one doing the work, it looks like Ralphie's really into it. Ralphie's mom was all worried about him shooting his out with a BB gun, never saw me coming. Oh. Where's the ladies at? Ladies? Make some noise. This one's for you. Ladies, dick pics are weird, huh? Guys do not understand how weird dick pics are, but you can teach them. Here's what you do. Next time you get an unsolicited dick pic from a guy, do nothing for like a day or two. And then in the middle of the day, preferably when he's at work or something like that, send it back to him. As a straight guy, when you receive a random dick pic in the middle of the day with no context, it's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to you. I know because my wife did this to me one time. I was just at work, sitting at my desk, just pretending to do my job, and my phone goes off. And I pick up my phone, and it's my dick. And as I'm just sitting there really confused, a text comes in below it, and it says, "This is my dick." Now, to the coworker looking over my shoulder, it looks like I got a text from a dude that says, "Hey, this is my dick. You show me yours, now I'm showing you mine, what's up?" Now, here's another problem. Mine just so happens to be way darker than the rest of my body. So if I go around trying to explain this to people, they're not going to believe me. And I'm just going to end up in HR by the end of the day. So I pretty much just have to live with the rumor that I have a Latino boyfriend. No, when my wife and I first got married, I drove this really nice custom truck. And I love this truck. But soon after we got married, my wife comes up to me and tells me that she's pregnant. And I'm going to have to get rid of this truck that I love and get a family vehicle. And it was at that point where I realized why guys sometimes kill their pregnant wives. I didn't do it. I'm just saying I get it. But after the thoughts of like drowning her in the tub and pushing her downstairs and stuff like that went away, I was like, you know what? I'm not happy about it, but she is right. We are going to need a family vehicle. But me being the smart ass that I am, I decide I'm going to get the most annoying family vehicle that I can find. So I take my truck to the car dealership to trade it in. And me and the salesman are walking around. And I'm like, that's it, that's perfect right there. It is a full-size 12-passenger van. I was like, this is perfect. My wife is going to hate this. He was like, so you don't want it? I'm like, no, I definitely do. And look, all I'm thinking about being in my early 20s and getting a full-size van is that I'm married. My wife's knocked up. She's not going anywhere. And I'm not trying to pick up chicks in the van. You can't pick up chicks in the van. I mean, willingly. Let's be honest, it happens from time to time. Like, ladies, if you're going to go on a Tinder date and your date shows up to get you in a full-size van, you should probably just assume that your date isn't big on consent. But anyways, I buy this van and I take it home, and my wife was like, what the hell is this? I was like, this is our new family vehicle. We can have like 8, 9 more kids and not have to get a new car. She's like, you're not an idiot. She's like, you're an idiot. I'm not riding that thing. And I was like, it's too late. I already bought it. And I thought it was hilarious because she's embarrassed. Everywhere we go, we run around this van. And then reality set in of what a creep I looked like driving around in my early 20s in a full-size van. I kept getting pulled over in this thing. I get pulled over when it was just me in the van, and the cop would come up to the window and be like, "Sir, you know why I pulled you over?" I'm like, "Yes." Make sure nobody's tied up in the back. It happens all the time. It was like, "That's exactly right, you're free to go." I'd get pulled over when it was just my wife and I in the van, and I'd be talking to a cop at my window, and a second one would come up to the passenger window and be like, "Ma'am, blink if you're in trouble." But the worst one was when it was just me and my daughter in the van. I had to start carrying her birth certificate with me, just to prove that I had lured that van with candy. We learned that one the hard way too. I got pulled over and the cop asked my daughter. He said, "Did this man offer you candy to get in the van?" My daughter said, "No. He told me that there was a puppy in here and the candy was to keep my mouth shut." That same daughter is now a teenager. She's 16 years old. I caught my 16-year-old daughter vaping the other day. So I did what my dad would have done, made her smoke the whole thing. Okay, as it turns out, vaping is a way better bang for your buck. So we're at the hospital. I'm just joking. I didn't make her smoke the whole thing, but I told her, I was like, "I should make you smoke that whole thing." And my daughter said, "I would have got so nick sick." I said, "What the fuck did you just say?" She said, "Nick sick, like nicotine sickness." And I was like, "Oh, okay." All of a sudden, I wasn't even mad about catching her vaping anymore. I'm just glad a vape is what I caught her sucking on. I might not be raising my daughters right. I have 2 teenage daughters, but I am raising them to be tough and to not take shit from anybody, especially men, because that's how my mother and my grandmothers are. Especially one of my grandmothers. Like, my grandpa doesn't even have to be doing anything wrong. She's just out there firing warning shots at this dude. I remember one time when I was like 6 or 7 years old, my grandparents are in the living room watching TV. And I'm in the floor having race wars between my Ninja Turtles and my G.I. Joes. And the guy on the TV hit his wife. And my grandma just turned to my grandpa and was like, "You ever do that to me, I'll poison your food. You'll die slow and painful death." Ladies, those were the good old days. If you married a jackass, you could just poison his food until he died. And that was like a perfectly acceptable way to get out of a marriage. Really, it was like the best way because you get 100% of the stuff and a nice life insurance payout. I think CSI really fucked that one up for y'all. These days, you're going to get caught and apparently have some smart-ass detective making one-liners of your husband's dead body. You're just like, that was a recipe for life in prison. But of my 2 grandmas, that's not even the scarier of the 2 grandmas. My other grandma is this little bitty Hispanic lady, the abuela, if you will. And she is the sweetest little old lady. But this lady had 17 kids. Yes, 17. All 17 of her kids are terrified of this sweet little old lady. And it never made any sense to me. Till one day I came up with this theory that maybe my grandma didn't have 17 kids. Maybe my grandma had 18 kids, and she just drowned one in the tub in front of the rest of them. It's like, that's what happens when you don't listen to mom. We're not doing any spankings. We're not doing timeouts. One of you just go missing. If you have 18 kids, nobody's going to notice if one goes missing. Nobody's doing a head count on your kids. My grandpa probably didn't even notice. My grandpa probably came home from work one day and was like, "Wasn't that old boy like this tall? Can he look like me a little bit?" Never mind, I think that's him. That might be him. 17 kids. I don't know how you could even afford 17 kids, especially with all the parking tickets that my grandpa bought. Because everywhere my grandpa went, he just left his truck in the middle of the road. Because my grandpa never pulled out of anything. "17 kids. Can you imagine trying to do laundry for 17 kids? That's a lot of loads. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have been doing the math on that yet, but 17 kids at 9 months per kid, that means my grandma was pregnant for almost 13 years of her life. That's like being pregnant for the time it takes you to get from kindergarten to 12th grade. Now, I know a lot of ladies these days got famous for being pregnant between kindergarten and 12th grade. That's not the same thing. My grandma's a saint. This isn't 16 and pregnant. This is 16 kids and pregnant. Yeah. Now, I do think my grandma should have had her own reality TV show. They gave one to the Duggars back in Arkansas where I'm from. It did not end well, but we won't get into that. But it was called 19 Kids in County. They could have called my grandma's show 18 Kids Eliminated. It would have been a way better show. Tune in next week to see which kid makes it to their next birthday and which kid gets voted out of the trade park. I do have to warn y'all about this next joke. I'm kind of known for overcommitting to a bad bit. I think that's why I've been married for 14 years. No, but I had this moment when I first got married where I realized marriage is not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And look, it's not my boss day. I didn't pick my wife because I thought she was going to be a good wife or a good mother or anything like that. I knew that my wife was the one that I would spend the rest of my life with 30 seconds into the first blowjob. 30 seconds in, I was like, she's a keeper. I've got a lot to say. But this moment came one night when my wife and I just cooked dinner. And by my wife and I cooked dinner because my wife's a millennial woman and she can't cook for shit. But we cooked and ate, and we were sitting on the couch. And my wife's like, man, I really don't want to go in there and do the dishes. I was like, well, I did all the cooking. It's only fair that you go do the dishes. Then my wife says, how about I give you a blowjob if you go do the dishes? And it was at that moment where I was like, ah, shit, I made a whore. But then I got my ass up into the dishes. Now, when I come back, you know what I'm thinking. And my wife knows what I'm thinking. But she's like, you know what? I can't right now. I'm still too full. You're just going to have to take an IOU for this one. I'm like, all right, IOU for a BJ. That sounds okay. Now, the problem is, my wife does this to me 3 or 4 more times before I realize these IOUs aren't really worth anything. And they're kind of like getting a gift card for Christmas or your birthday. They're only redeemable at one store. And this store has really weird hours. I cannot figure out when they're open. So I decided that I'm going to use a little reverse psychology on my wife. Not because I think it's going to work, just to let her know that I'm no longer taking IOUs as a form of payment. So one day, we were supposed to go picking pumpkins at a pumpkin patch or some real white people shit like that. And I really don't want to go. So I was like, look, if you let me stay home on this one, I'll do anything you want. You can tie me up, I'll tie you up. Hell, we can role play Grey's Anatomy. You want McSteamy or McDreamy, I'll give it a shot. And like I said, I was expecting to know that she was like, nah. I was like, what do you mean, nah? Why'd you say it like that? She goes, no, it's okay. I just took a shower. I was like, I'm not seeing the problem here. She goes, oh, you don't understand. The shower head's already taken care of that. Yeah, she knows what I'm talking about. It's true. You gotta do yourself, huh? Yes, but it's true. Guys, if you have a detachable shower head, you are in competition with that detachable shower head. You've been all worried about her flirting with her work husband. You need to be worried about little Delta faucets. And I can see some of you guys in here are learning this for the first time. And I've made a very awkward car ride home for some of you. Some of you have some explaining to do. But it's true. If you go to a Home Depot, there is a whole aisle that is nothing but adult sex toys for women. It's in the plumbing section. Just water-powered vibrators as far as the eye can see. I remember the last time I took my wife to Home Depot, she looked like a little kid at Toys R Us, just completely overwhelmed. And then she comes running up to me going, I want this one, I want this one. I'm like, what does this shower head do that the shower head at home doesn't already do? She goes, this one does an alphabet with water jet. I was like, shit, that is a neat trick. I don't know if I can compete with that, so I bought it for her. Now when I'm out of town, I don't have to worry about my wife cheating on me. I just have a really high water bill. When I first started doing that joke, I was trying to hide the fact that I do stand-up comedy for my family. I wasn't too worried about my parents finding out because they know I'm a shithead, but my grandmothers are still alive, and I've kept up appearances pretty well for them. But we were at this family get-together, and sure enough, my grandma's found out that I do comedy. She comes up to me and goes, hey, Adam, I hear you're a comedian now, so tell me a joke. Absolutely not, Grandma. I don't have one joke that I'm going to tell you. She goes, I'm 84 years old. I've heard it all before. It'll be fine. I was like, still, I'm not going to do it, Grandma. Then my little brother walks by and he goes, you know what? I like that joke you do about your wife in the shower head. Then my grandma turned to my wife and goes, oh, I am the one that does the alphabet with the water jet. All right. Before I do this last joke, I would like to thank all of y'all for coming out tonight. It feels good to get out of the house. When we're in here watching comedy, it kind of makes things feel normal. I know the whole world's going crazy out there, but when we're in here, it kind of makes things feel a little bit normal. But there are some things out there that are getting back to normal. Like, we are back to having school shootings. That is a terrible joke. I will admit, that is a terrible joke. Y'all are horrible for laughing at that. I'm horrible for saying it. But as a parent, a lot of people think that schools would be a lot safer if we just get rid of all the guns. That's going to take care of the problem. But as a parent, I know that if I was to walk into my kid's school and just sling powdered peanut butter in there, I'm going to kill about half of those little bastards. Apparently, peanut allergies are a real thing. I put a pack of peanuts in my daughter's lunchbox, and the school called me because half her lunch table went into anaphylactic shock. And that was the cool kids' table. It would have fucking wrecked the nerds. But in all seriousness, I do think we need to do something about school shootings and mass shootings, but nobody can ever agree on anything. It's like, do we need more guns? Do we need less guns? Is it a pharmaceutical issue, or is it a mental health issue? Because it always ends up being these involuntary celibates that have been on Ritalin since they're 6 years old and can't get laid. They end up doing these shootings. So I was like, what can we possibly do that we might all agree on? The only thing that I could come up with was legalize prostitution. If we legalize prostitution, these guys aren't going to have any money for guns or ammo. They're going to spend every dime. They're going to spend every dime they make on hookers. And let's be real, these guys are one blowjob away from not blowing anybody's brains out. Now, if we do legalize prostitution, these incels are going to be having a lot more sex. I think that's a good thing. I think we should keep that going. So the next thing we should do to help the situation is make Viagra an over-the-counter drug. Just let these guys pop dick pills left and right. I realize that could be dangerous. We're probably going to have some overdoses. The waiting area at the emergency room is going to get super weird. It's just going to be full of dudes with 4-hour erections trying to not make eye contact with each other. But you know what you don't do when you have a 4-hour erection? Go shoot people. It'd be pretty fucking weird if you did. Now, the next thing I think we need to do to help the situation is apps. Not like Snapchat and OnlyFans. I'm talking about like real hooker apps. Like instead of Uber, we'll have Uber Roadhead. You just blow the driver to pay for your ride. Instead of DoorDash, we'll have DoorDash. Just order a hooker right to your door. If you're into fatties, we have Chub Hub. Yeah. Chub Hub is first floor only, though. They don't do stairs. Now, the cool thing about these apps is, like all apps, there's going to be a ratings and review section, which means you're going to be able to leave a Yelp review for a hooker. I can only imagine what that's going to look like. You're going to be scrolling through there, and some guy's like, I gave her 3 stars because she really neglected the balls. And you just scroll down a little bit more, and some guy's like, that was the best blowjob I've ever had in my whole life. But I had to give her 2 stars because she didn't tell me she had a dick until afterwards. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I love that trans women are a real thing. I think it's great that somewhere in the world there's a woman apologizing to a man for coming too soon. All right, I'm Marvin, thank you. You're amazing.
Unbelievable.